Code accepted.
Nuclear war, okay?
We're living in an age of the transformation of planned obsolescence into updating into obsolescence. I noticed the other day that my video card suddenly was performing very slowly. And it wasn't by coincidence that this was right after I had received a software update, a driver update for it. So obviously, this was a result of that driver update, a performance downgrade. And such things seemed unimaginable back in I guess it was the 1990s, when the idea of planned obsolescence really started to catch on. It seemed almost unbelievable that there would be such perverse incentives. But with the passing of time, planned obsolescence has become quite standard. It's actually becoming embedded into the collective consciousness. People expect their various devices to perform increasingly poorly as time goes on. And in the case of the video card, all I had to do was downgrade the driver. And there's actually two interesting points about this. First of all, this video card that's not even a year old, first of all, it shouldn't be. This is 3 points. First of all, it shouldn't be losing performance already, whether it's by planned obsolescence or otherwise. Secondly, when I went to roll back the driver, I did not have a driver that was shipped with it, because even though it's a $500 video card, it did not come with a driver. The driver had to be downloaded from the manufacturer's website. And here's the third point, and that is that if you go to, in this case, the NVIDIA website and look at their archived drivers, it doesn't extend back very far. In fact, the driver that I was using previously, the original driver that I downloaded from that same website less than a year ago, is no longer available, according to NVIDIA. And so I went to the manufacturer's website of this particular video card, and they had quite an extensive list of older drivers, going back many years. And here's the interesting point. That list is of links on the NVIDIA website. And so I clicked on a year-old driver, even older than the one that I had used when I first bought this card. And sure enough, the link worked, even though it was from NVIDIA. And so they still have the files. They're just no longer letting you see them. Isn't that handy? Anyways, enough about that. This is not just about video cards. The same thing applies to your cell phone or your tablet or countless other devices that are being intentionally degraded via software in a timely fashion for your convenience, to encourage you to replace that device. Sooner is better than later, after all. And a great example of this is one that you've probably heard me mention more than once, and that is the camera that I'm using right now to film this, which is 10 years old, and I'm actually extending its capabilities far beyond the original specifications via software manipulation, hacking, if you will. And it troubles me somewhat to think of how many professional devices are retired early or even discarded when they could be functioning perfectly for years to come, even decades. And there is no accounting, there's no accountability for any of this perverse behavior. These are truly perverse incentives because it contributes to pollution in more ways than one. The manufacturing of these devices requires materials, requires the generation of pollution, the usage of energy. And then the discarding of these devices generates pollution again in landfills, or worse yet, being incinerated. And not only is there a lack of accountability, but people are being encouraged to participate in this accelerated pace of replacing devices that are functioning perfectly, but being crippled by the manufacturer via software updates. And more than that, not only are we being encouraged, if we extend this just a little beyond the realm of electronics and consumer nonsense into other ways that we are being crippled remotely and not just encouraged to downgrade certain capabilities. There's another word, dare I say it? Mandated.